Against the Las Vegas Aviators, 4-2 at home. Jake Gatewood, Max Mayfield, and Michael Stefanik each homered to account for the Bees' scoring. The team has today off before starting a road set in Oklahoma City against the Dodgers. That's sports.
Wired Wednesday is here. That means we could actually go get breakfast. We want Chris and let McKinnon run the whole thing here.
You know, if I knew how to run like the little fancy board and the computer and like all the keys and the sounds, I would like attempt to, so you guys could go get a real breakfast.
Well, you know, once we get started, you guys can talk. We could run down, get the street, and be back before the show's over, so we could take care of the rest of it.
If you want to, you're more than welcome to. But we do love having you on the show, Tim.
All right. I mean, no, and we love being here, but I have to tell you. So Monday was my night to pick up where to go eat, and we decided we were going to go to the diner.
Oh, isn't it so good?
And what did we get? We got breakfast. We had breakfast for dinner, and I loved it.
That is one of my favorite things, and I love biscuits and gravy, like with like the real good sausage gravy.
Oh yeah.
And it's one of my things that I'm kind of good at, and I used to be able to make them really good from scratch, but my husband likes the canned dough better.
What?
So I just, I buy the,
Oh, you mean the
one of those,
hit
yeah,
the thing on
the popping
okay,
things
okay.
that scare the hell out of you every time. Oh my goodness. Well, good morning. It's Wired Wednesday with McKinnon Hansen with Farm Bureau Financial Services. Today in studio we have Nick Huntsman of Mountain Sunrise Feed out in Burrell Junction, Utah, and it's such a pleasure to have you here, Nick.
Well, thank you. Glad to be here.
And
Now,
we're going to
I
ask you to
know-
get real close to that microphone.
I was going to say, I know the mic scares you, but you have to be at least 4 inches
Look,
from it.
I've been scared by worse than this.
We've turned the voltage down on it, so if you do touch it, it's just
All
a
right.
mild shock.
Wake me up.
Yeah.
Yes, just a little bit. Nick, how are you doing today?
I'm doing good.
Good. So with Mountain Sunrise Feed, it's kind of, to me, I think of like Mountain Sunrise Feed. It has to be sunflowers. What do you guys do out there?
No sunflowers, but we would take a sunflower if we saw one. But
Okay.
this year, anything that would grow without water, we would take apparently. But we process alfalfa hay and timothy hay and different grasses, and we make a full line of feed products and pelleted feed products for domestic use, and also we export. We're about 50-50, half export and half domestic in our business now. We also double compress alfalfa to ship overseas.
So you take, let's say, a bale as big as me, a 1 ton.
You're 1 ton?
Well, I would think that
I'm there, but
A 1 ton bale, the density of that bale is basically about 12 pounds per cubic foot.
oh
After
wow.
we process that hay, we are at about 60 pounds per cubic foot.
Holy cow.
So we take, and all we do is basically press the air out of the bell. We cut that, we end up with a bell that ends up being 12 and a half inches wide, 15 inches tall, and 22 inches long, and weighs about 65 pounds. That way they can put enough in a shipping container to afford to ship it overseas.
That's incredible that technology exists. How long have you guys been doing this?
We've been involved in the export since 1984. We built our own plant in 2000.
Wow. And so it's, over that amount of time, have you seen it increase in demand on local domestic use or exports? Where have you seen the demand change over the years?
The overseas market has grown and grown as Asia, those Asian countries, their population demands more protein in their diets.
Okay.
And milk is the cheapest source of protein that they can put into their diets. Therefore,
Good quality hay.
good quality hay. They want what they want, and we in this area can provide that hay. They want high color hay, good leaf in it. They want a respectable quality, and we have the perfect climate for that. It's dry,
Yeah.
so that we can get our hay baled up nice and green.
Well, and we've talked with other hay producers that also ship internationally, and we have one of the highest protein contents in the nation for where we grow our alfalfa. The high altitude, the hot days, the cooler summers, it creates a really good product for the hay.
Yeah, it can be. I mean, they can grow good hay if they set their mind to it. It's a little easier here
Yes.
to do it. So we tend to have, people come here looking for a specific quality.
So when I met you almost 2 years ago now, when I came out, I saw like all these pellet, hay pellets, and I'm like, what eats hay pellets? Like, I know cubes, like horses and cows will eat cubes, and like loose, like leaf, like a whole leaf, will go and feed larger, animals.
Whole flake.
All flake, but pellets, I was like, what eats pellets? So tell us what people consume, or what consumes pellet alfalfa.
The majority of our pellets are consumed by horses. And the reason people feed our pellets is, number one, is the consistency of the product. It stayed the same year after year, day after day, week after week. It stays the same product. We also are able to mix that product accurately with different grasses. For example, we have a Bermuda hay pellet and a Bermuda alfalfa pellet that we sell a lot of in California and Arizona. We have an oat hay alfalfa mixed pellet that we sell a lot of in Colorado and Northern California. We have a Timothy pellet and a Timothy alfalfa pellet.
My favorite.
That we sell.
Well, of course, Dr. Tate.
That we sell all over because Timothy is very popular as a horse feed. The idea about pelleting hay over just feeding
Wait a
a
minute.
flake of hay.
I was named for hay?
Huh?
I got my name from hay, is that what you're saying?
I just about did,
Okay.
yes.
Okay.
But we pellet that so that when the animal consumes it, they consume the whole plant. If you put a flake of hay in there, the animal will sort through and eat the leaves first. When they eat the leaves
will.
first, they're getting a diet that is 28-29% protein. Then you, as the owner of that horse, walks out and says, I'm not going to pay that much for hay, and you leave half of it. So you sit there and force them to go back and eat all the stems that they left earlier. When they leave the stems, then they're eating a diet that is 8-9% protein.
A third.
And the microbiome dome, or whatever they call it, the microbes in the gut of the horse are changing constantly.
So there's no consistency.
There's no consistency. By feeding the pellet, you control the quality of the feed and make the animal eat it as a complete feed and not sort through it.
So you mix the Brussels sprouts with the ice cream so the horse likes it.
Exactly.
Okay, I like that.
Yeah. And that way they have to get, my
Oh,
wife
that's
makes this
tricky.
tater tot casserole and she sneaks cauliflower in it
Yeah.
to make me eat my vegetables. So
Yeah.
it's
You can't
the
mess
same
with the
process.
structure of a tater tot
Oh,
casserole.
yes, you can.
Oh man, the cheese! Oh my,
Anyway,
good memories. Good memories.
so anyway, we do that. We sell those pellets in feed stores all over the western United States. This year we just opened up Texas and we're starting to ship into Texas now. We're
That
in
is
New
awesome.
Mexico, Colorado, Utah, Nevada, Idaho, Arizona, and California.
And it's labeled Mountain Sunrise Feed. So
Right.
if any of our listeners are wondering, go to our local IFA.
No, IFA has their own line.
Oh,
and we won't.
fair.
We don't bag our product and put somebody else's name on it. We spend too much time on
It is your
quality
product.
that we want it to be identified as our product. So.
Well, good. Are there any local stores in Iron County that sell your product?
Yeah, there are. There's a little feed store out in Enid that sells our products.
Out on
And-
Mid Valley on the east side.
Yeah.
Oh,
and then,
I know those guys actually.
And then there's one out there where Overson used to be that also handle our products.
Ranger Supply.
Ranger, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm curious because, first of all, congratulations. You live in, and I'm about to irritate all of Cedar City. You live in what I consider the good part of Iron County.
Well, we kind of go with that.
I think there's a spirit out there on the western part of our county that,
Yeah,
that
from Lund Road West, right?
is
It
excellent.
is.
Every time I go out there, I go, you people are so blessed to live in this area. And don't get me wrong, I love Cedar too. I'm not gunning Cedar City here. We love it here, but there's something out there that is just this spirit of individualism and the spirit of getting things done. I mean, you're at Burl Junction, Utah, and you've got this operation going out there that's now known nationwide, if not around the world. What made you think you should do that?
You know, we found that the economy of the dairy industry got to be at a point that all the dairies could afford to use was the very best quality, And unfortunately, farmers can only grow a percentage of their hay that is that quality. And so there was a market needed for these other qualities of hay, and that's why we started pushing and developing a market in the export market to ship overseas, and also this pellet market to provide a spot for a farmer. I want to go to a farmer and tell him today, at the beginning of the year, I'll buy every bale of hay you grow. You do the best you can, and we'll do our best to find a market for everything you grow. And so if he's going along and it gets some rain, then we have a market in an export market for pellets that we can utilize that product. If he gets a field that comes up with some weeds in it, we can ship that into the pelleted export market. And if their hay's perfect, then we put it in our domestic product and also ship that export also. But we have a home for every type of hay, and the reason we do it is because we grew up as farmers. My brother and I, when we started this business, we grew up as farmers. We knew that every farmer goes out and works as hard as he can and does the best he can. And sometimes things just don't go well for him. And at that point in time, rather than just saying, what do I do now? We have a home for that product, regardless of what he ends up with. We're going to find a way to market that for him.
Top of everyone's mind right now is the drought and the lack of water. How's that affecting your operations, if it is?
Well, what it's done is forced the price. My Southern Utah accent come out there.
Hey, no worries, no worries.
Has forced the price of hay to go way high.
Sure.
There's a big demand. These guys have this drought insurance.
Yeah, the drought insurance.
So now they have a big bundle of cash, and so the ranchers go out and, in my opinion, way overpay to make sure they have the few bales of hay they need to feed.
Yeah.
And it's pushed the market up, and in turn, it's made it hard to market that product, the rest of the product that they don't buy overseas, because the farmers have the anticipation that, hey, if this guy can pay $200 a ton for oat hay, then they should be able to pay $250 or $60 or $70 a ton for alfalfa hay. But it's two different markets. Unfortunately or fortunately, Japan, Korea, Taiwan, China aren't affected much by our drought. They can buy hay in a worldwide market, so that's made it
Well,
a
and
little
it's
bit
really
difficult.
interesting. I mean, you mentioned the range insurance, and those are some of the products that Farm Bureau does offer. You know, and I'm McKinnon Hansen with Farm Bureau Financial, and we have Nick Huntsman in studio today, and we're talking about Mountain Sunrise Feed and what it's provided this community over the last 35 to 40 years of different products being able to be sold, you know, finding buyers for the local producers, you know, the local cattlemen, you know, using their products or, you know, negotiating different prices and things. And it's through this drought, we've had some really interesting dynamics happen because everybody's already anticipating. I mean, yesterday's rainstorm, which we are so grateful for, was the first measurable rain we've had since like March.
Yeah, it's been a long time.
Yeah, it's
And
been dry.
you know, and so everybody had to feed through lambing season, and you know, and it was, I think the mountain roads opened up in May because the county pushed them, but in, you know, June 14th was the traditional everything's on the mountain, you know, but because we've been so dry, they've tried to feed them a little longer, which has driven the price up, which, you know, and people are already anticipating a hot, dry summer, so they're trying to buy hay now so they have feed in the fall and through the winter and through lambing season again. They're, you know, producers don't.
The only problem they've got is if you're selling a $800 calf, and that cow is eating 3/4 of a ton of $200 hay a month. At what point does it?
Right.
Is it not? There's no advantage in doing it. But I understand. We grew up farmers and ranchers, so we understand that you want to keep your seed stock. You want to hang on to those animals. You spend a lifetime developing genetics in a herd that you want and appreciate, that you don't want to take to the auction and sell for $600 or $700 per pair right now. So
Which is half of what it was a year ago.
So we just accommodate that. We know that why it is, and in our business we go out and buy. We try to buy it. If we can buy it, then we buy it. If we can't, well, if the guy can get more, great. That's what he needs to do.
Right.
Another year, we will be the best price or the best deal, and that year we'll be fine. But,
Well, and I think
we're going to be fine one way or another.
Well, no, and I think it's with the ebbs and flows of each of the markets, and the supply and demand and, the economic status. And speaking of economic status, like with what your company has been here, the last 35 or 40 years, you've had employees, you've paid taxes, you continue to pay employees, you're re-stimulating the economy here, and you're contributing to the basic necessities of the area, which is what 90% of, well, I don't know if it's 90%, but I know that agriculture is still 1 or 2 spot in Iron County for income driver.
And even
Economic
what
driver,
people
excuse me.
don't understand is that if you look at the leaders in our state, most of them are within one generation of growing up
Right.
on the farm.
Very true.
And we have the best economy in the nation, partly because of the leadership in our state. And that leadership was trained how to work, how to perform, how to stay with the job till it is done, because they grew up on a farm.
I have the honest question for you.
That
If
was
I-
really powerful.
It
Nick.
was,
Thank
and I
you.
really appreciate it. I have the honest question for you. Run a little bit of the day-to-day operation, because I'm curious. You seems like you have a pretty good-sized operation at Burrell Junction. Again, not the biggest population center in the world. So do
Now,
you have-
Tim, I think they're up to like a whole 3 people.
Wait a
Okay,
minute.
that could be. And again, I love the area out there, but it seems like you do a lot of shipping. Do you have trucks come in to pick up the stuff? Do you go over to Modena and leave it for a train? How do you get things
Well,
in and out?
we're excited at this talk of the inland port coming here. It'll be a boon to us, because right now, this year, in the export hay business, the ocean freight has quadrupled.
So how do you get
Quadrupled.
Has quadrupled.
How do you get it from
our,
here?
Oh my
our
gosh.
freight from here to Long Beach?
How do you get it from here to there?
We put it on trucks,
On trucks,
and haul
okay.
it down there to Long Beach, and there it's transloaded into containers and then put onto the ship. But our inland freight costs from here to the port have gone up about
Oh, yeah.
30%.
Yeah.
So
It's
30% plus quadrupled.
So when our
Oh my
our
gosh.
customer overseas now is seeing, basically, they're going to be looking at $100 a ton increase
Wow.
on that hay. Some of that hay, they're going to eat, but I'm afraid that some of it down the road will be eaten here by our farmers, because unfortunately, we're 450 miles away from the port. We have to. If you go to the Pacific Northwest, them growers in that area, and in
They're right
California, they're 150 miles
Yeah,
from the
they're right
port.
there.
Right.
Therefore, the freight portion of their product that we have to compete against is considerably less than it is for us. A year ago, we were getting trucks for $750 a truck. Right now, we're paying $1,000, $1,100 if we get in a jam to get
Wow.
a truck under our load.
Oh,
And
man.
that is partly because of COVID. Annually, truck driving schools inserted 200,000 drivers every year. Well, last year, and that just kept things flowing.
Right.
Last year, those schools all shut down. So now we're running a 200,000
Behind.
driver deficit in order to get it done. You hear them talking about gas prices going up because they can't get drivers to deliver gas. Those things are real things, and and let's face it, you're not raising any of your children to work in a hay plant or to drive truck. Therefore, where do those people come from? I
I
think
don't
that
know.
we need to take a real hard look at immigration
I can see it.
and allow people here to work and come up with a way that can happen.
I could see MJ behind the wheel of a big rig.
Well, I was just going to say, my daughter got a rabbit in early spring, and so I understand where like the hay pellets come from. And I almost drove out to Burrell just to buy a bag, but I wasn't sure if Mitch would sell it to me. And we're running short on time. Nick, how do we get a hold of your product?
You can go to mountainsunrise.com, and there you can get
A vendor list?
You can get a vendor list, and also you can see the products that we have.
Do you ship to individuals, or do you go through vendors only?
We do not sell any retail out of our plant, but we have dealers that we can,
Get us in touch with. And,
that
and
can get
connect.
it taken care of.
So that was mountainsunrisefeed.com.
mountainsunrise.com.
Oh, mountainsunrise.com.
I'm just intrigued because of, again, you know, I love the area out there, but I never knew you guys were there.
You know, we're there,
It's incredible what
and
producers
I
are
went to a
finding,
meeting with the governor, not this governor or the one before him, but I went to a meeting with one of the governor's representatives, and he went on to tell me how agriculture was so unimportant. Unimportant, that what was happening up there with Micron at the time was going to be more valuable to the state than all the agriculture put together. And I just got up and told him he didn't know what he was talking about and left the meeting. Because unfortunately, we live in a society, we go about our work and people don't notice what we do, and that's fine. You know, but
People don't
it's
know
out
what
there.
we do, so
Yeah.
I'm okay with that. Hey, thank you. It's
You
just a
bet.
pleasure to have you. And
Thank
MJ,
you.
we should tell people what you do because,
Yes.
well, this is your show. Yeah.
Yes, thank you for joining us for Wired Wednesday. This is McKinnon Hansen with Farm Bureau Financial Services, offering commercial, agriculture, workers' comp, range insurance, and a variety of other products. Please give us a call at 435-592-2021. Thanks for joining us.
All right, that's Wired Wednesday. We'll see you next time.